Hey everybody, this is Jason Ostrowski, and welcome to another edition of the Everything Real Estate Podcast. In today's episode, we have a conversation with Lynne Kelleher from the Yardley-Newtown office. And the reason we brought Lynne on the podcast, beyond her many years of experience in the real estate industry, is something unique that she does this time of year. For roughly the past 15 years, Lynne has been sending out, without fail, letters to her sphere of influence. Number one, expressing gratitude towards them this time of year. And then also she sends out a specific begging letter, quote unquote, to her sphere of influence, asking for business in the new year. It's a brilliant strategy, and Lynne's here to share some of what she does in the holiday season to market to her people. So let's get right into it with Lynne, and we'll pick it up on the other side. I have Lynne Kelleher today on the podcast, and Lynne, it is great to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation today about your unique way to gain referrals this time of year, which is, of course, begging. And so pride has nothing to do with real estate, right?
Heck no, man. No.
But in all seriousness, we are going to dive into some of the powerful letters that you write to your clients around the holidays and the new year and why they are so effective. So I want to start with your gratitude letters and how that process has evolved to make it a staple of what you do this time of year. So first of all, you are a very good writer. And I must say, the way that you structure your letters are very potent. And I like to think of myself as a decent writer. You are a very good writer in reading your letters. Mm-hmm. And so I noticed that you first start off your gratitude letter with a quote, which everyone loves a good quote. Mm-hmm. It kind of brings people in. Mm-hmm. And you follow that by an authentic appreciation of your people in which you thank them specifically for being a friend or an advocate. So you tell your story in a way that people know is authentic to you. So having done these letters year by year, my first question is, do you have a formula for your letters that you stick to, or do you just let it flow from your heart?
Well, so here's the thing. I think the first thing people should understand if they do that, and I would recommend that everybody do this, and the podcast couldn't be more timely because the time to send a gratitude letter is at Thanksgiving, because that's what Thanksgiving is all about. So I start with a quote because that's then not the sounding board, but that's the jumping off point for the rest of the letter. It's the inspiration point for the rest of the letter. So it's not, it makes it a little bit less awkward. So then the body of the letter is based around the quote, and I apply the quote to my business. So in a sec, maybe I'll read one so people can kind of see. Number two is that so I start with a quote, and then there are two recurring themes. One is that I want them to know sincerely how grateful I am and acknowledge how they impact my business. And the other part is that I make a presumption that they are advocating my business. So I'll say to them, I'm blessed, and you'll see, I'm blessed to have a lot of friends and advocates. Thank you for being one of them. It makes the presumption that even if they aren't a great referral source for me, I make the assumption that they would like to be. And so I think that's really powerful. The other thing is that it must be in your own voice. So I am pretty funny. So, and a little irreverent, and my letters are in my voice. Your letters, should you choose to do this, and I'm telling you, you should do it. It must be in your voice. And it is an acknowledgement at a time when people are feeling a sense of family and gratitude that I think is really powerful.
You can tell that you're sincerely grateful. And these almost are like an extension, when I read them, of a handwritten note, right? That we always talk about how powerful handwritten notes are. This is kind of like an extended handwritten note that you're giving to your people. And so how many of these letters do you try and send out to your people? And what is the response? Do you get a lot of response from these? Do you hear from a lot of people?
Hear from a lot of people. I have some people that'll say, "Oh, Lynn, this year's was a good one." I mean, I've been doing this for, since the late 2000s. So, let's say I've been doing this for 10 or 15 years. I do a mail merge so that they are addressed individually. I sign them individually. I hand address the envelopes. No stickers, because that smacks of mass mailing. Okay. And I hate to sound like a Pollyanna. I mean every word in this letter. I truly, truly am grateful. And I want my center of influence. So that's who it goes to, my center of influence. Anybody that I think likes me, whether it's a past customer, whether it's a current customer, whether it's a center of influence. If I think somebody likes me, they get it. Whether I think they're going to refer me business or not. If they think well of me, so I probably send out about, 250 or 300 of these, So let me read one of them. So it starts off saying, here's the quote. "Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it." That's from William Arthur Ward. And I Google these. I get these. You just Google Thanksgiving thing. For me, and I'm sure for you, Thanksgiving is usually the time of year when, more than any other, we reflect on all that we have to be grateful for. And while this year we may need to search a bit harder than we ever have before, this was 2020, and your Thanksgiving table will probably look different than it has in the past, I hope you find a place of grace and peace this holiday season. My great place of grace and peace comes from making sure those that have shown me such goodwill and support know how much you are appreciated. It is important that you know how blessed I feel to have so many friends and advocates in my life. Thank you for being one of them. My life wouldn't be nearly as full without you. I hope you too are feeling blessed this holiday season, and despite the uncertainty that swirls around us, you find an abundance of things to be grateful for. May 2021 bring good health, good luck, and laughter to you and those you love. Best, Lynne Kelleher.
I think it's so powerful to hear that, especially during the pandemic, right? Because people are for a lifeline. They're looking to connect with people. You're sending this out. You can relate to what everybody is going through. But I think the other thing is your consistency in doing these. You just said you've been doing them since the late, aughts, right? So, whether that's 15 years, the consistency is what people expect from you year after year. I always tell the story of people, a lot of agents will send out, sports schedules, right? Eagle schedules, Philly schedules. And I thought that it was so cliche to do that. But once I stopped doing them every year, I would hear from so many of my clients, where are your schedules, right? So it just becomes a part of your every year routine to do these things. And people expect that from you. Isn't that true?
Yeah. Come hell or high water, this letter's going out. And I do it. They go out the Monday before Thanksgiving. So it arrives Thanksgiving Eve, the day after Thanksgiving. Come hell or high water, these things are in the mail. And, it takes a little bit of doing, because I do sign them all. That's not a big deal. And I handwrite all the envelopes. And I do them on, if you go to Paper Direct or any decorative paper company, I do them on a pretty paper and in a pretty matching envelope. So it's not going out in a Berkshire Hathaway envelope. This is not a business letter. This is a letter from my heart. And I don't want it on a business letterhead. I don't want any of that. The begging letter may be something different, but the gratitude letter, that's the deal.
Well, you stole kind of my next question, because I had a feeling that you personalize these things to the nth degree to make it that much more effective. And I think it's a brilliant thing, right? You have a custom envelope, you have custom paper. These things mean something. They're not just your run of the mill, like you said, sending out in a Berkshire Hathaway letter. No offense to people who do that, but it's much more powerful to have it personalized. And you said you actually write the names of your people on the envelope. You do not use labels, which again, much more powerful to do something that way. It takes a little bit more time.
Right.
Like you said, the impact.
No bulk mail either.
Yeah.
Stamp. And it's a special stamp. Sometimes they have like give some sort of a thanks kind of a stamp or a holiday stamp. It's got that kind of stamp on it. No bulk mail. No, none of that. What do you call that? Every door, EDDM, none of that.
Not only from obviously a business standpoint, but from a personal standpoint, it bleeds into each other. The more personalized that you make it, the people like it better, and they know, like, and trust you better, right? So it just makes sense to do it that way. So that is an amazing letter in itself that you send out every year. But I also want to get in now to the really juicy stuff now, all right? So I want to move on to the more, I guess, shall we say, controversial of the two letters, which is what you call flat out your begging letter, which I love. The first thing that strikes me is that you take a big risk in begging for business, right? People don't particularly like to be put on the spot and asked directly for business, but you do it in such a clever way. So from what I've noticed in your begging letter is that you disarm everyone by telling them that this is flat out pandering for referrals. All right. So you take that portion of away for an objection, right? So, and then you talk about some of your other goals. It may be a personal story. It may be a glimpse into your life that shows some vulnerability before you get to begging for the business, right? But you tie it all together in a nice little bow.
Yes.
And so,
it's so clever, if I do say so myself.
So Lynne, why do you think this works so well? And why, as you put it in one of your letters, is your favorite and most effective strategy for increasing sales again this year? So you actually say that in your letter, that your letter is your favorite and most effective strategy for increasing your sales.
Yep. So, all right. So here's the deal. I think that we as an industry have a hard time asking for business in a way that's not like, hey, got a deal? Hey, want to buy a house? Hey, who do you know wants to sell a house? And I don't think, so I think we have a hard time asking for business. And I think sometimes we make a presumption that people understand how we do business and how our business becomes successful. If you're used to getting a paycheck, regardless of, every 2 weeks or whatever, regardless of the level of quality you are as an employee or whatever, you don't realize that, in January, as I put in my letter, we are back on, step 1 of the 12-step program, the slate's wiped clean. We're back, we're out of business come January 1, unless you got a few, spillover deals. So again, I make the presumption with people who I know like me. I make the presumption that they want to help me grow my business. Because why wouldn't they? Look how nice I am. I'm a hard worker. Hopefully for a lot of them that are getting it, I've demonstrated how good I am. They should want to help me, quite frankly. So I make that presumption. But you're right that you have to do it. And again, when I read these, and maybe if we have time, maybe I'll read two of them, but they really have to be in your own voice. This is exactly who I am. This isn't coming as a surprise to anybody. But I put it out there and I say to people, I need your help. Your referrals are the key to my success. And I know you want to help me. And I'm just reminding you what you have to do to help me. So you can either start with a quote. So I'll read this quote. And now we welcome the new year, full of things that never were. It's from somebody. Okay, that's the quote at the top. Then it says, isn't that really the essence of what we feel on January 1st? The slate is clean, our goals seem achievable, and the possibilities of what may come our way in the new year brings a sense of optimism. I hate to sound like Miss Goody Two-Shoes, and then I put in parentheses, where did that come from anyway? But I feel like all things are possible at this time of year, and I hope you do too. If not, call me. We'll talk. So here's some of the things I'm striving for in 2017. Lose 13 pounds by my 40th wedding anniversary on April 2nd. I know. How could that be? Into the same man, for heaven's sake. Stop with the math. I was a child bride. That's in parentheses. Piece of cake, right? Did I mention that this has been on the goal list for the past 8 years? Learn to play the piano. This will probably be the hardest to achieve, as I don't know how to read music and you actually have to practice to get anywhere. I wish you could just listen to tapes. The success of this goal may be in how I decide to define the word play. Increase my business by 20%. Of course, that's where you come in. And since 65% of my business comes from referrals from people like you, I hope I'll be top of mind anytime someone you know mentions they are considering buying or selling a home. If you would be so kind as to give them one of my business cards I've so thoughtfully enclosed, I'd be eternally grateful. Or better yet, email me their name and contact info, and I will reach out to see how I can help. Rest assured that I will treat them like the family I actually like and be by their side every step of the way. I'll thank you, they'll thank you, and you'll have dinner out on me. Thank you for support, both past and future. I am truly blessed. Fondly, Lynn.
I love that. I mean, I really like the way that you kind of ease into it. You get to the point and you get specific. Usually people want to help you reach your goals, like you had mentioned. And why wouldn't they like to give you referrals if they like doing business with you? I think a lot of times, we lack that confidence as agents to go back to our clients whom we've forged a very good relationship with, typically through the process of either buying or selling. And then, when we don't talk for a little while, we kind of get weird. We're like, we don't want to either bother them or make them feel a certain way. But if we forge these good relationships, like you said, they should want to help you out, and don't be afraid to ask for that. And that's what I love about this letter.
Not only should they, but I think they do. Look, again, it's that Pollyanna thing. I think most people are good. And most people who are nice like me, because I'm nice, I think people want to help me. And that's just, that's the premise under which I operate. This just shows them, reminds them, it just reminds them, because they don't know how our business runs. Can I read one more? Do we have time for me to read one more? All right, here's another one. Well, here we go. Here we are again. It's January. The holidays are finally over. And if you're like me, I'm so glad to be out of that limbo that they seem to produce and moving forward again. I'm proud to report that most of my resolutions are still intact in some form or fashion, and I'm trying to remember that Rome wasn't built in a day. That makes sense, right? I mean, what's the rush? Okay, so I didn't get the gym 3 times last week as intended. I only went once, thinking that at my age, perhaps I should ease in. This is a good one. That's a lie. I went once. Everything hurt afterwards, and it took me the rest of the week to recover. I am, however, doing really well with the one where I'm not supposed to drink during the week. Unless, of course, I'm out, then the rules don't apply. I can't believe the money I'm saving on wine. Of course, the other thing that happens in January for those of us who only get paid when we produce a result is goal setting and action plans for the upcoming year. I've decided to implement my favorite and most effective strategy for increasing sales again this year. I'm begging. That's right. I'm begging you once again to refer me to anyone who even breathes a word about buying or selling a home. It doesn't matter if you like them or not. It can be your neighbor, coworker, family member, dog walker, or the guy that does your tattoos. I promise to take good care of them and will treat them like family. Well, the family I like anyway. They win because they'll have me by their side during what can be a very stressful time. You win because you'll get dinner out on me, and I'll win because I can pay my bills. I love it when everyone wins. Seriously, though, my success does depend on referrals from people like you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your continued support and goodwill. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I mean, come on, what's better than that? It puts it all out there.
I love it, Lynn. So, so you've been doing this for so long. Do you ever get any blowback from any of these letters? I was just going to ask,
never.
Has one person said anything about this?
No, never, ever. I get people that say this is so funny. And you know what? If there was some blowback, I'd just take them off the list. Certainly wouldn't impact me from not doing it. Because I think to myself, like, how funny is this? And, I think it's very real. Like, we need their help and they like us. So, assuming they like you, of course. So the same group, the same group that gets the gratitude letter gets the begging letter. And this goes out third week in anytime between the third week in January and the first week in February. Again, I don't remember. I may do this one in the Berkshire Hathaway envelope, but again, it is hand signed. It is the addresses are handwritten, no labels.
And bottom line, what has this meant to your business? The begging letter specifically, what has that meant to your business?
You know what? It's just part of a consistent stay in touch plan. So I map that out. Okay, they're going to get a birthday thing from me. They're going to get my begging letter. They're going to get my gratitude letter. They're going to get, and I plug in my touches. So I'm sure that my center of influence, and these are just part of that touch strategy.
Yeah, it's a consistent campaign of sincerity, right? And just thoughtfulness is really what it comes down to. And
staying top of mind.
Yeah, and staying top of mind. Okay, so if an agent wants to start something like this, all right, what do you think agents should be focused on when they actually write their begging letter? Because we see the way that you do it, right? You read a couple of them. How do you make it work, right? What should they be focused on when they write their letters?
They should be focused on being sincere and genuine, and again, being somewhat presumptive in that your clients want to help you, or your center of influence want to help you. B, they don't understand how our business works and will not be offended if you explain it to them and ask for their help. How can anybody be offended by that? If you need to use a quote to get you as a launching off point, to get your groove going, use a quote. And if anybody wants, if anybody wants to email me, I will send them copies of my gratitude letters or begging, so that they get some sort of a sense of, just don't copy them because it'll sound like me. Now, if you send it and it doesn't sound like you, well, that could irritate and annoy people. And it doesn't have to, mine are kind of, my gratitude letters are short. My begging letters are kind of long, because I think I'm really funny. Anyways, but so they don't have to be long. it could have a funny anecdote, or like, hey, one time I said, hey, I'm at step one of a 12-step program. The whiteboard is wiped clean. My calendar is empty. I need your help. And I think people want to help you. And at least it's just another touch. It's not another reminder,
And,
yeah.
And like you said, I don't think you need to think it to death, right? It's not paralysis.
No.
It's like you use a quote as a jump off point, and it kind of structures your whole letter beyond that, because you can work off of that quote to kind of, to make it your own voice. And then you incorporate your humor in that, which I appreciate, right? Like if I read that, I'm like, oh, I love Lynne, like you said, it's like irreverent, it's funny. It's real, and it touches upon who you are as a person. So, okay. The last thing that I wanted to move on to, since, we're running out of time here, is that I wanted to talk further about your charity, 100 Women Who Care, Bucks County. Now, you and I met each other a little while back, and I don't know if you recall our conversation, because I still remember it. We were talking about this, and I kind of want to know, let's start by telling the audience why you decided to start this charity, number one, and why it's important to you.
All right. So here's a condensed version. I went to a version of 100 Women Who Care in Chester County with my sister, went to the meeting, thought it was absolutely brilliant, and thought to myself, hey, man, I can do this. Came back to Bucks County. They have since folded due to COVID. But I started this group in 2014 with 35 members, all of whom were from my center of influence, past clients. I decided to do it because for two reasons. One, I think it's important to support the community that supports you. And I thought it would be a good vehicle for my business. So I started this group. We meet 4 times a year, costs you $100 to join. You come to the meeting, it lasts 1 hour. You hear 3 charities present. At the end of if they have 5 minutes, at the end of the 3 charity presentation, the membership votes, and the money is distributed. It used to be that the top vote getter got all the money. Now the monies were so big, the money gets distributed according to the vote count. So on December 4th, I have my meeting. I now have 250 women in my group. So in 1 hour, I will donate $25,000 to local charities. $100,000 in a year. That's really impactful. Here's why I would encourage people in other counties or wherever to consider doing the same. A, not a tremendous amount of work. B, terribly impactful. C, it presents you, it rounds you out as a person to your center of influence and to your community at large. It gives me the opportunity to promote my charity and myself in a way that's not always, hey, got a deal? Who do you know wants to buy a house? Who wants to sell a house? Hey, yeah, it's not that. It's look at Lynne of generous heart, who happens to be a realtor. And maybe you want to, if you are looking for a realtor, you'd like to work with somebody that gives back to their community or has generous heart. And it gives me, those touches that we talked about previously with the letters. In there are meeting reminders about upcoming meetings to my center of influence. So I am, again, it's a touch point that is not asking for business. It's a touch point that puts me top of mind without asking for business. And even if you're not, and I have a bunch of realtors who are from the office, who are members of my group. Here's how it benefits them. They can send out things to their center of influence that says, look at this fabulous, impactful, brilliant group that I'm a part of. Why don't you come with me? Or better yet, why don't you 5 or 6 or 8, 10 clients? Let's meet. I'll buy you drinks beforehand, or drinks are on me, because the event always has alcohol, must have a glass of wine if you're going out on a Monday night. So maybe you invite a group of women. I'd love you to come, and this is so fabulous. Look at this. Why don't you come check us out, and I'll buy the drinks are on me. Okay, so now, even though I'm the one in front of the microphone, you now have another way that says, wow, look at that Susie. Look at what she's involved in, or whatever. Or maybe you do something, and maybe you think, okay, I'm not willing to take on something that big. Here's another thing that I did. I contacted a local charity, found out about a waitress that a single mom had just lost her mom, scrabbling together the down payment for an apartment. I got a group of 10 women, clients, said, hey, I found out about this gal. Let's go have lunch and leave her a really obnoxious tip. When we got there, and of course it was unsuspecting to the waitress, we get there, we have lunch. Afterwards, I say to everybody, I pick up the bill for the 10 women, the $300, whatever. I said, I'm paying your lunch bill. You still leave your obnoxious tip and the cost for your lunch. We walk away from that event, put $900 into cash, into an envelope. And as we walked out, I handed it to the waitress and I said, you open this when you get home. There was no fanfare. There was no, hey, look at us. Look at the good we're doing. Can I tell you something? Every single woman that walked out of there contacted me later and said, Lynn, what a great day. I felt like $1 million. So who's the hero of that story? Of course, we all were, but Lynn was, because she put it together.
I think it's such a great point, and actually it goes to speak what I was going to ask you next. Just personally, what impact does that have on your life? Because I feel like it almost becomes contagious to other people, right? Other people want to join in and do good, number one. But also, and I feel like once you get in that mindset of doing that, you want to do it more and more. Would you agree with that?
I'm a believer in that the good you put out comes back to you tenfold. You can't always, I can't say to anybody that, hey, I've had my charity for now almost 10 years, and I've gotten 7 pieces of business from it. Doesn't work that way, and that's not the objective. The objective is to give back to my community. The byproduct is that my clients see me, and because I get press, and the general community in which I do business sees me in a different light, in a positive light that only ultimately benefits me. And so, and you can do things, and hey, maybe this isn't it. Maybe you say to your center of influence, I'm adopting 5 families this year. Here's what I need. As a community, let's all of us adopt these 5 families. Whatever it is, it's good for you and your heart. It's good for your community. It's good for your business.
I love it. All right. So we're about to get out of here. I know that you had mentioned earlier, and I want to make sure that it's okay. If people do want a copy of your letters that we're talking about today, number one, you had said it's okay to reach out to you. I just want to make sure that that's okay. And then number 2, where's the best place to reach you, Lynne?
Just Lynne.Kelleher at Fox Roach. They can just use my Fox Roach email. I'm in the system. So I'll send you a couple of samples. Do not copy them. But use them as your own inspiration to create your own. I think everybody will. I don't know how you can't agree that these aren't fabulous. or the idea isn't fabulous.
Yeah, I think they provide a great template for someone looking to do something like this. I know I didn't mention this earlier, but this time of year, just like you, instead of a letter, I do handwritten notes, but I write every single one of them. It takes me a couple months to get all the way through, your client list or your sphere list, whoever I'm going to write them to. But I bear down this time of year, write every single person a very sincere note that is very specific to them, and do the same thing that you do. I handwrite all the addresses. That does volumes for your authenticity and the personal touch that we always talk about that we should have as agents to our clients. And Lynne, I want to thank you because you certainly excel at that personal touch. There is no doubt about it. Reading your letters, your charity work. I want to thank you for all you do, and thank you for joining me today on
this. This is fun. Hey, Jason, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for inviting me on.
You got it. Well, I hope to see you at some point soon somewhere. Much luck to you in 2024, and good luck with your begging letters this year.
All right. Thank you so much.
That was the conversation with Lynne Kelleher this week. Here are a few takeaways I had in talking with Lynne. First thing is that I know we're talking about these letters today with Lynne, and the first thing that strikes me is everyone has their own way of doing things, and every person is different with their marketing, specifically what works for that person. So social media may work for me, it may work for you, but it may not work for this person. Or Lynne writes these letters, it may work for Lynne, it may not work for this other agent. You have to pick and choose what works for you. But the one thing that Lynne does is she is consistent. She does this every single year. Her clients expect to get them and look forward to these letters coming out. So whatever it is that you do it consistently. That is the name of the game. That is the number one thing in real estate. We always talk about the magic bullet. There is no magic bullet. Whatever you're going to do it consistently. Find something that works and lean into that. Number two, I want to talk about just the logical sense that Lynne makes in talking about her begging letter, right? We think that this is some bold strategy that she's asking her clients for business, but Lynne says, why wouldn't they want to give me business? If they like me, if they think that I did a good job for them, why wouldn't they want to give me business? And she is so right. I think so many times we get in our own heads about things. We tend to think too much. We get weird. Sometimes you just have to think about things like Lynne does and say, why wouldn't I ask for business? This is something that my people should want to do for me after I help them. Let them help me, and don't be afraid to ask. Last but not least, we ended on Lynne's charity, 100 Women Who Care, Bucks County. And again, I know we always talk about this on this podcast, but find something that you love to do, something that makes you feel good, and try and incorporate that into your business. That could be a million different things. I actually was talking to an agent the other day, and he actually is part of a dinner club. And that's what he enjoys doing. He gets business from it, and it works for him. The point is, the low-hanging fruit is getting out there and melding what you love to do with your business. That way you'll enjoy doing it and want to do it consistently, which is the key to anyone's business. So maybe that's something that you think about heading into 2024 to add to your business. Well, that's it for the podcast this week. We will be back in another couple of weeks with a new topic, a new guest, and as always, if you want to hear something that we haven't covered yet, please reach out to me, jason.ostrowski@foxroach.com. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to our podcast yet or left us a review, please do so. It helps us to reach more people. Once again, this is Jason Ostrowski saying stay safe out there, stay selling, and happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Everything Real Estate Podcast.